The novel explores his interaction with and eventual transformation of Terran culture. In 2012, the U.S. Library of Congress named it one of the 88 books that shaped America. I know it shaped me. I first read Stranger in a Strange Land as a teenager, and it opened my mind to new concepts of religion and spirituality and what it meant to be human. I had grown up in a small rural town where everyone was pretty much like me and my family. Michael Smith had grown up on another planet where he was the only representative of his species. His perspective on things forced not only the other characters in the book, but also the readers to question everything we thought we knew and believed. The first mind-expanding thing was learning a Martian word, grok. Its literal translation supposedly means to drink, but that concept means much more to a Martian. To quote one of the characters from the book, grok means identically equal. The human cliche, "this hurts me worse than it does you," has a distinctly Martian flavor. The Martian seems to know instinctively what we learned painfully from modern physics, that the observer acts with the observed through the process of observation. Grok means to understand so thoroughly that the observer becomes part of the observed, to merge, blend, intermarry, lose identity and group experience. It means almost everything that we mean by religion, philosophy, and science, and it means as little to us as color does to a blind man. It almost made my brain hurt, but it was fascinating. I realize now that it has a lot in common with Buddhism and Eastern philosophies, but then it was all new and amazing. The next big thing was Michael's take on religion. As he explains to another character, I must grok each cusp alone myself, and so must you, and so must each self. Thou art God, and you can't refuse the nomination. Thou art God, and I am God, and all that groks is God, and I am all that I have ever been, or seen, or felt, or experienced. I am all that I grok. Now, this idea didn't just rock my world. It actually inspired the formation of a real religious organization called the Church of All Worlds, after the church founded by Valentine Michael Smith in the book. It still exists today. I never joined it, but I have met the couple who founded it. And no, it is not related to the Church of Scientology. The third revelation came from Michael's experience when he finally understands laughter. He's watching chimps at a zoo when one chimp beats up another one and steals his peanut. When the chimp who was the victim immediately goes and beats up another chimp, Michael starts laughing uncontrollably, startling and alarming his companion. He tells her, "I found out why people laugh. They laugh because it hurts so much, because it's the only thing that'll make it stop hurting." I'm still processing that one today. Those were the big three concepts that warped my young mind. But there are many other ideas presented in the book that had an influence on my thinking. Most of them came from remarks made by Jubal Harshaw, the cynical curmudgeon who becomes Michael's protector and mentor, such as, "I've never understood how God could expect his creatures to pick the one true religion by faith. Strikes me as a sloppy way to run a universe." 2, they insisted on thinking of God as something outside themselves, something that yearns to take every indolent moron to his breast and comfort him. The notion that the effort has to be their own and that the trouble they are in is all their own doing is one they can't or won't entertain. 3, goodness alone is never enough. A cold, hard wisdom is required too, for goodness to accomplish good. Goodness without wisdom invariably accomplishes evil. 3, churches thrive on martyrdom and persecution. All those religions, they contradict each other on every point, but every one of them is filled with ways to help people to be brave enough to laugh, even though they know they are dying. And then there were 2 that seem really pertinent today. "Remind me," Jubal said to her, "to write a popular article on the compulsive reading of news. The theme will be that most neuroses and some psychoses can be traced to the unnecessary and unhealthy habit of daily wallowing in the troubles and sins of 5 billion strangers." And finally, democracy is a poor system. The only thing that can be said for it is that it's 8 times as good as any other method. Its worst fault is that its leaders reflect their constituents. A depressingly low level, but what else can you expect? Robert Heinlein died in 1988. He was my favorite author, and Stranger in a Strange Land was one of the biggest influences on my life. I think it was because, as he said when he was referring to his book, I was not giving answers. I was trying to shake the reader loose from some preconceptions and induce him to think for himself along new and fresh lines. In consequence, each reader gets something different out of that book because he himself supplies the answers. It is an invitation to think, not to believe.